When we put ourselves out there to do something new, to do something scary or vulnerable, we need hope. We need to have the expectation that something good can come of trying this new thing. Otherwise, we probably won't do it. We need to have the hope that it will be worth it, that something great will come of it. Otherwise, we probably just won't try. But when there's too much hope and too many expectations, we can get disappointed. When we don't get the outcome we wanted, when we don't get results from doing the scary thing, we might feel like it wasn't worth it. We might feel like a lot of sadness and frustration around it, and that might discourage us from trying again. And I feel like in our society, disappointment is not really an accepted emotion. Like I often hear people say just try again, this is part of life, just keep going. And to basically ignore and bypass the disappointment and go straight to trying again. But over time, that's actually not very helpful because we still feel that disappointment somehow. We just decided not to go into it and to just push through. But then when we get disappointed one too many times, we might get really discouraged. We might feel like we've tried so often, we get so frustrated, there's so much anger involved, and that might stop us from trying again altogether. And ignoring the disappointment actually makes our fear of disappointment bigger because it feels like, we already have so many disappointments to carry. We can't carry another one. Whereas if we take the time to acknowledge that we feel disappointment and that things didn't go as we planned, and we allow ourselves to be sad, to be frustrated about it, to give ourselves a time to process what happened, then we can actually try again with a fresh energy. And it won't discourage us from trying again, and we don't develop such a fear for it because we know that we can handle the disappointment. If we decide to ignore disappointment and push through, we develop a fear for it because it feels like something we're not allowed to feel and we're not allowed to express to other people. And we fear that if we go into it and we actually allow ourselves to feel it, that we'll never get over it and we'll never try again. But the opposite is true. When we really allow ourselves to be disappointed and to give ourselves time to process it, we learn that we can handle it. That yes, it is painful, and yes, it's sad, it's frustrating, but also it's something that we can process and we can give ourselves time to feel, and it won't stay forever. We will actually go move past the disappointment, and that can actually help us try again. So the fear of disappointment usually really comes from the fact that we decide to ignore it, that we decide that we're not allowed to feel disappointment, and that we should just keep trying and keep pushing through instead of giving ourselves time to process it. Because when we really want something, allowing ourselves to be disappointed won't make us not try again because we want what we tried for. We feel this desire to get that new work project or start that new hobby or whatever it is that you're trying. So when you've processed the disappointment, that disappointment won't be attached to that goal anymore. So you can look at it with fresh eyes and you can actually learn from what happened and see how you could try again with a different angle, maybe with slightly different expectations, but basically with a lot of positive energy. Whereas if you push through the disappointment and decide to ignore it, it's kind of still with you. And that disappointment kind of stays attached to that goal, and it's much harder to separate the two. And so the joy of trying it will go away over time, especially if you get disappointed a few times in a row. It will be so much harder to stay motivated and to stay there. So if you are currently working on a project or you feel like you've just been disappointed, allow yourself some time to be disappointed. Talk about it, write about it, just feel it, just be with it. And I promise you that you will feel motivated to try again and that you can handle the disappointment. Your body, your mind can process this and you won't be stuck in it forever.